Elden Ring.
An open-world RPG made by AAA studio From Software Games, the result of a collective effort involving hundreds of employees, millions of dollars of funding, and 5 years of development. I'm gonna make it in 10 minutes. That's right, Flappy Bird wasn't challenging enough, so we're ramping things up. As you can see here, I've already got a little environment set up. This is just the demo scene from a free asset that I found. And we also have some 3D models and animations in here. These are all from Mixamo, which is also free. If I hit play, then you can see we also have a simple character controller in here. And that's just to make things a tad bit easier, because it would take me the entire 10 minutes just to make a character controller, and that's not very exciting. This is the script. It's pretty much straight from Bracky's video. I think of making Elden Ring more as building upon this. Making Elden Ring is more of making the Elden Ring specific features. You know, does that make sense? So, you know, it's not cheating. Okay, moving on. Can I make Elden Ring in 10 minutes? Sure I can. Of course. Yeah, the whole thing. Here we go. Alright, alright, here, orc. We're gonna scale him up to make him a bit more menacing. Okay. Now, let's look at our animator. So I'm gonna add the attack animation. Whoa. I'm adding an attack animation to the player animator that we already had, and I'm going to trigger this attack animation when we call the attack trigger. Okay. Now we're gonna return to idle when we're done, and we're gonna duplicate this. And this is going to be for the... Hello? Orc. Okay. Open that up, and now we're going to replace the animations with the orc ones. So this goes there, and that goes there. Okay. Making a script. An orc script. An enemy script. We're going to make the enemy follow the player. So we're going to need a character controller, and we're gonna need a public, let's do a animator, and we're gonna have a public float speed and a public float turn speed. Cool. Controller is gonna be the controller component. Nice. Excellent. Cool. The orc needs a character controller, and it needs an animator, and we're gonna assign that animator right there. Okay. Actual movement stuff. So we're gonna move in the direction of a player. The player, actually. The only player. So we're going to have a move direction, and before we do that, we're going to have a target, which is going to be the player. So how are we going to get the player? Well, I'm going to cheat and do something cringeworthy and put a reference to it right there. So we'll just say player dot transform dot position. Now we're going to target dot y. We're going to set the y target equal to our own position.y and effectively cancel that out. So now we can just subtract our position from the target position to get a vector pointing towards the target, and then we're going to move using dot simple move in the direction of move direction times the speed rotation. We're going to set the rotation to a rotate towards, so we're going to rotate gradually from our rotation currently to a new rotation, which is going to be a look rotation, which will rotate us in the move direction. at a speed of turn speed and time dot delta time, and I can't forget that ever important step there. Go. Add the script. Speed. There's a semicolon that we need. Where? Here. Player. Here's the player, which is called soldier. I just realized that. That is a knight, Carson. That is not a soldier. Alright, we can move. We're already able to move. The orc it's gone. Where has it gone to? Alright, we need to move the collider up. Collider. We're up. Okay. Time is not looking too good. Orc. Oh, look at him go. He's moving towards us, but not spinning very quickly. So let's just crank that up. Faster, 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 faster. Is he turning? I think he's turning, but it's hard to tell because he's twisting, so we do need to get the animations playing. So I'm just gonna say set boolean and set that running boolean to true. Gosh. Good. Alright, in the player one, we're gonna test for a get mouse button down 0 because we're gonna start attacking. So we just have to type attack. Just kidding. Almost as easy as that. We need to make an attack function and then just set the trigger. Freaking underscore convention. Set the trigger to attack, and this will play the animation, but we want to do more than the animation. Alright, we're gonna need a boolean to know if we're attacking, because guess what? We only want to move when we're not attacking. So we set attacking to true when we start attacking. That makes sense. And we're gonna have a attack finished. Guess what? I cheated again and I set up animation events beforehand. There they are. We also have sword hit in the middle. That's when the sword makes contact, and this is when the attack is finished, so it makes sense to set attacking to false here. Sword hit, this is when we're gonna test for an impact, so we've got a collider, array, hits. This is everything that we've collided with when we do a overlap box, which starts at an attack position. Bam. Now we have a attack center position. And this checkbox is going to extend 1 unit in every direction. We're going to just do attack center dot rotation, and we're going to need a layer mask. So I'll make a layer mask for that. Move that down here for later purposes. This is going to be an enemy layer. Okay. Here's the layer mask. Nice, nice, nice. We're gonna say for each collider hit in hits, we're going to get the hit component enemy, and then we're going to subtract from its health. So I'll just do another cringeworthy thing and just set health here, and we're just gonna directly de-increment it by why not 10. Nice, nice, nice. Grab all this. Guess what? It's the same thing for the enemy. Pretty much. This goes up here. And we're gonna need a boolean attacking. The player needs a health. This doesn't have an underscore, and this is going to be player now instead of enemy. Alright, so basically same code, but now the enemy should attack. But when should the enemy attack? The enemy should attack when we when there's something in this box that we made. Imaginary box. But it's there. Trust me. If there's more than one thing in the box, that means we're ready to attack. Cool. Alright, now we gotta set a bunch of crap up. Player, okay, we need layers. Stat. No. Layers. Enemy. Player. Layer. Alright, you are an enemy. Your enemy layers, player. At your attack center. Oh god. Attack center. Okay, it's gonna be centered at 0, 0, 0, and then move it. Stop. Up and over. Okay, duplicating you. So you get an attack center also, which it will be at the center of your attack. Good enough. Here's that. Oh my god, 30 seconds. Health 100. You're there. Your enemy is enemy. Your layer is player. Your health can also be 100. Why not? No, it's gonna be less. It's gonna be that. And does it work? I doubt it works. It better work because we've got 3 seconds. Can we attack? That's something. He's walking towards us. Oh my gosh, look at that attack. He's attacking. Okay. Not quite Elden Ring. Whew. Can he kill me? Oh no, we didn't add any destroying when the health is 0, so definitely can't kill. And there's also that problem. Cool. Okay, so we have a guy that can swing his sword, and we have an orc that walks towards us and attacks sometimes. That's identical to Elden Ring, I think. Like, we got all the core components. I mean, if someone just looked at this, they'd be like, oh, that's Elden Ring. So I think I did fine. Can I make Elden Ring in 10 minutes? No. I don't want to disappoint any of you guys, even though this game is incredibly awesome already. I'll tell you what, I'm going to let the timer keep running, and we'll see if I can do a little bit better. First, I had to fix the twerking issue, so now we only move when we're not attacking, and we only attack if we're not already attacking. And I added this same logic to the player script. I had to add a boolean to the animator because the animation was transitioning too soon, and the attack finished event wasn't being called. Next, I added a proper damage function to the enemy and player scripts so that I could destroy them when their health was 0. And then instead of de-incrementing from the health directly, I just called the damage function. Next up was the lock-on system. This was actually pretty easy with Cinemachine. When Q is pressed, I either call lock-on or unlock, and then I have a boolean for whether we are locked on or not. I also needed a variable for the lock-on target. To actually find the lock-on target, I use overlap sphere for the 100th time in this video, and that gives me all the enemies in a certain radius. Then I loop through all these enemies and find the closest one. Finally, I tell the camera to look at the target. And then to unlock the camera, we can just set the look at back to the player. Alright, this is looking pretty good until you go behind the enemy, and then it gets a little disorienting. So we're going to want to lock the X and Y axis. I also found a Cinemachine setting that centers the camera on the target's heading, so that fixes the issue we saw earlier. Now we need to work on making movement relative to the target. So if I make the player always face towards the enemy, then I can just move the player relative to the direction that he's facing. I can do this with transform.forward and transform.right. Now if I press W, the knight will go straight towards the enemy that it's locked onto. Pressing Q, okay, it worked in theory. Ah yes, the delta time. Hey, that doesn't look too bad, except we're floating, and now we're tilting. Let me just fix that right up. Now we should stay firmly on the ground. Now we need to get strafing going, so in order to do that we need a blend tree, yay! We need to set the X and Y parameters of this blend tree, and those are basically our velocity relative to how we're facing. So unless we're locked on, that'll just be 0, 1 since we're going straight forward. If we are locked on, it can just be our horizontal and vertical input. If we press A and go to the left while we're locked on, then that means we want to strafe in the left direction. And that seems to be working, despite other issues that I can't fix. And let's be real, I can't leave out dodging, so now we have to add that to our animator, and then we're just going to trigger that animation when we press space. For the actual dodge, root motion is complicated, so I'll just move in a certain dodge direction for a certain amount of time. I don't want to do anything else while we're dodging, so I just returned out of the update loop, which probably isn't a great idea, and I'm just using a standard timer with time.delta time in order to know when to stop the dodge motion. Now we need to look in the direction that we're dodging, so that's not too difficult. Okay, I may have spoken too soon. Okay, yeah, too much dodge, too much dodge. What? Is it working? That's not too bad. Now I started working on weapon combos, and basically anytime between the sword hit event and the attack finished event, that's when we can trigger a combo. So I use a boolean to keep track of that. For the animations, I used a sub animator thingy and then came up with this mess. I don't know if that's the best way of doing it, but basically each combo attack can either lead into the next attack or exit. I spent a while struggling with this one. Animations can be quite a pain, and yeah, I pretty much stopped worrying about the timer after the first 5 minutes. But hey, this looks like weapon combos. I'm kind of just getting carried away at this point. I'm not sure how I didn't end up making the entire Elden Ring game by the end of this, but eventually I do stop. I'm making an aggro system for the enemy right now, so guess what we're going to use? An overlap sphere. So if any players are in a certain radius, then I will show the health bar and also set the target for the enemy so that it starts attacking. And then same thing for de-aggro, except in reverse, I guess. So if the player gets far enough away, then the health bar is hidden, and then the enemy goes back to idling or whatever. Now in order to change the health bar based on the health, I'm going to change the fill amount of the image component. Even this didn't work first try because I was changing the background of the health bar instead of the actual bar. Haha! It's going down. Look at it go down. Now, it wouldn't be fair if only the enemy had a health bar, so yeah, we're adding a stamina and health bar for the player. I am aware that I shouldn't put everything related to the player into one script, but I was in a rush and it just seemed simpler at the time. I'm subtracting from the stamina when we do things like dodge and attack. Now, everything's pretty much the same except we are going to have stamina regen, so I'm just adding to that if regenning is true, and then if we have our full stamina again, then regenning becomes false. regenning only becomes true after a certain delay once the stamina gets to 0. That was an error that I find out later. The stamina starts regenerating once it gets below the maximum amount. Final stretch here, just repurposing my previous health bar for a player health and stamina bar, and things are almost working, but of course they're not quite there yet. Okie dokie, so maybe if this was a 2-hour challenge, then I could have gotten to this point. This video was a little bit hard to make because it started out as just a joke, but then I kind of took it too seriously, and I didn't know if I should extend the time or if I should just leave you guys feeling unsatisfied. But anyway, hope you enjoyed it in the end. Maybe you learned something, maybe you didn't. In that case, hopefully you had fun. I mean, you're still here after all. I'm going to be posting a lot more frequently now because it's like the summer. My next devlog is coming out soon, so get ready for that. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Soon, I promise.